Well, we're back again with church history. And today we're going to talk about the last session on church history, which is the age of ideologies. Runs from about 1914 up until today, even though we're starting to move into a new period of church history. This is probably the most formative place for us in the modern church because it is the air that we breathe. Basically, after the age of progress, Christianity became overly emotional. It lost its intellectual fervor, it lost its strength, it lost its vitality. We gave up our schools, we gave up the social work, we gave up everything, and we became all concerned and all consumed with the idea of creating an emotional environment to grow from. So what we're dealing with is that other ideologies with stronger intellectual cores slipped in. And as the world became more secularized, as the world became more set in this atheistic mindset that grows out of the late 1800s, we see new gods arise to claim loyalties. Now, as I go through these new gods, I want you to understand that if you were to directly confront these people, you would not get them saying they believe in God or a God or anything like that. But in all honesty, the systems I'm getting ready to talk about are legitimately other religions, false religions. The first one that I want to bring up is the controversial one, which is fascism. Fascism arises, fascism creates this concept of worship of the party, worship of the state, where you've got all of these different structures that are coming about that claim total loyalty on the people. And its ideology revolves around a concept of social Darwinism and of the survival of the fittest. The second is communism, socialism, and you would include in this the woke crowd, you would include in this the progressives. These are people that create the God of the state that rules over everybody, and it is the state that grants rights. Whereas in fascism, rights come from the strong. In socialism, communism, progressivism, rights come from the state itself, and the state becomes paternal. And the third God that gets created is the God of modern democracy, capitalism. Now remember, as I say this, America is not actually a democracy, it's a republic, which is why Christianity has been able to hang on here. But in democracy, what you end up getting is worship of the whims of culture. Well, who controls the culture? Democracy is always coupled with capitalism if it's going to be successful. So it's going to be the materialists, the people that have rejected religion altogether and embraced this idea of everything is a material thing. And the third is the God of technology. Now, the God of technology is a weird one because the God of technology goes across all of these sectors, but ultimately it is tied in with the idea that technology is replacing every other structure in the world. And here's where the problem is. When you cut Christianity out, you give the entire world to Satan. So basically, all of these systems in and of themselves are innately satanic, because if you want facts to put it up, we have killed more people in the last 100 years than over the entire course of the history of the world. In wars, in famines, in plagues, there have been more people that have died in concentration camps and more. And I'm not just talking about in Germany during World War II. Stalin killed way more people than Tiny Mustache Man. And ultimately, we don't look at him the way we do Tiny Mustache Man. Mao killed way more people than Tiny Mustache Man, but we have all these relationships with China. These demonic, atheistic, supposedly enlightened modern culture waged 2 hot world wars, 1 extended Cold War, Bush wars all over, and basically destroyed everything. So in the midst of this, the mainline denominations ended up trying to quote unquote keep up with this and embrace the intellectual fervor, and they tried to compromise Christianity with it. So liberalism and literal legitimate Satanism have taken over the mainline denominations. We see this Satanism in contemporary worship, which is anti-Christ. No matter what they may say, no matter what message they may preach, they're actually leading people away from Christianity by sucking in all this modern culture, the same way the progressives and the liberals, say in the UCC or the ELCA, are doing the exact same thing. So what we need to leave off on church history with is that in this modern age, true confessional, biblical, historical, traditional Christianity must remain strong. We must remain committed to Jesus Christ and to the Gospels. Well, that ultimately is the end of our introduction to church history, and we will talk at y'all later. Goodbye.